Welcome back to the Chit Chat and Crochet podcast. Today is book club. We are talking all about Lucy Swift's latest adventure around the streets of Oxford. This one is full of cozy vibes, it's wintry, and it's actually set at Christmas, which, guys, I know it's autumn, but this is just the way it's fallen. And you know what? I've actually really enjoyed revisiting this story. The book that we are going to be discussing today is Stockings and Spells by Nancy Warren. So if you've never ever visited my channel before, my name is Stephanie Mitchard. I crochet, I craft, I do lots and lots of different types of things, and this is our little corner of the internet where we talk about all things crochet and all things crafty. I say our little corner of the internet because we actually have an amazing community here. When I started this channel last November, I could never have foreseen bringing together our little group, and it's so amazing and lovely. It's like we have like a proper craft club, and no matter where in the world you are, you can come and join the craft club. Every episode we do it as a premiere, and that gives it this like live feed chat. So every week on a Wednesday we meet at 7 p.m. for the Chit Chat and Crochet podcast, and then on Sundays we have our crochet project of the week at 10 a.m. That's when we have that little live chat. So every single week there's twice that you can come to like our little meetups, and it's so lovely. We also have our Facebook group, the Mitchard Mateys Craft Club. Thank you, Wendy, for giving us that name. And that Facebook group is really active. Everybody posts what they're working on. And it's like interesting as well because you see people going like asking for advice, being like, oh, what wool should I, what pattern should I use for this wool? Or I'm kind of stuck with this. Like, has anyone got any tips? And I love the fact that we have this amazing little community over there where we're all kind of talking to one another. I absolutely love it. So if that all sounds absolutely amazing, come and join our community, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and come join in all the fun. Now, I never ever want my content to go behind a paywall. That's like a big thing for me. I really strongly believe that no matter what your pay packet is, regardless of your budget, you should have access to this community, access to this content. But if you do want to support in any way, help me buy wool, help me get fueled with caffeine, I also have a membership, which is $2.99 a month. It's a YouTube membership. What you get for that is you get a little loyalty badge showing that you're part of the club. You get priority responses to comments, and you also get a shout out in every single video. So I want to say a giant thank you to Wendy, to David, to Emma, to Claire, to Emma, to Tedi, and to Liz. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I also do the coffee app as well, so you can just do one-offs if you ever wanted support in that way. Massive thank you to Wendy because she donates so much, and genuinely, like, I'm so grateful that you believe in this channel and you believe in, what we're making. I'm just really genuinely, it means like a lot to me. Thank you so much. All the information for that is all down in the notes. So if you do want to help out in any way, it's there. Please also know that there's never any pressure to donate or to subscribe or anything like that. The most important thing for me is that you're here and you're joining in with the community. So what am I working on? What am I doing right here? What is this? This is the start of Red's Frankenstein jumper. I finally got to that point so I can now start making this jumper. So this is actually going to be the back panel. I'm going to take the back panel as like my little travel project, or like a project where I can just switch my mind off so I can talk to you guys about the book. I'm not having to think about colour changing and all that kind of stuff. It's just going to be black, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. So that is what I'm going to be working on in today's video. Later on, I'm actually going to start the panel, which I'm very excited about. I'm like, oh god, I'm so excited. Also a little bit nervous because obviously the project that I made last year, it went so wrong. It was so bad. So hopefully my skills have come on since then, especially since the Libra project. My goodness. Hopefully, fingers crossed for me, guys, that this is gonna go to plan and it's gonna go well. Let me know what you're working on as well. Let me know down in the comments. What plans have you got for Halloween? I'd love to know what spooky things you're going to be making this season. Anything just autumnal. I know that Emma was saying in the Facebook group, she was saying that she's not super really into the spooky, the Halloween, but she's really into the autumn. And she's saying that she's making, was it a pillow? I'm sure you said it was a pillow, like a pumpkin pillow. Be interesting to see what you come up with, Emma. That'd be absolutely amazing. I know that Wendy at the moment is working on her Bronte blanket, and just seeing those colours coming together. I love the fact that you found that pink wool. Like the title, because like what Wendy's doing, like I did with the Elizabeth DJ LeBrun, she's taking colours out of the sort of trailer post or the film poster, and then making a blanket up like that. And the colour pink that Emily Bronte has wrote in is like bang on. It's so bob on. It's crazy. Like, I can't wait to see what you end up coming up with that, Wendy. I know that Claire is working on a poncho. Claire's been putting pictures up on Facebook of her poncho. Really interested to see how this turns out. I really wanted to make a poncho this year. Like, that was going to be my plan, but it just hasn't worked out. I'm probably going to end up making a poncho probably next year, I think, for autumn. But yeah, really want to be part of the poncho club. Really want to make a poncho. So let's start talking about stockings and spells. So obviously this is a Christmas book, and I know it's a Christmas book, and I talk so much about I don't engage with Christmas before, November, but it would have been weird if we kind of skipped it, so I'm glad that we've done it. And to be honest with you, it kind of made me like very excited for like what's going to be happening at the end of the year, and getting me in the mood for the latter part of the year. It made me feel like really kind of like cozy, and like this is my favorite part of the year. Like, we have autumn starts, everything gets cozy, then we have Halloween, then we have like the build up to Christmas, and it's just, for me, this is just the best part of the year, and this is the part of the year that I just long for. I feel like my whole year I'm just longing for this time. So I actually felt like the Christmas element, it wasn't too intense for me. It just kind of brought me a lot of joy, and I don't feel like kind of Nancy Warren really goes there. I mean, it's set in a Christmas market, and the vampires are making Christmas stockings, and that's what it kind of starts off as. Is Lucy is like in the shop. Miratamoon, she is still there. She's working as Lucy's assistant, and she's coming together with the kind of the modern day world and the modern day aspect of things that are going on. She's convinced that there are like witches in all the appliances, and she keeps like blowing things up to try and free the witches, which I'm like, oh, it must be so jarring for her. If you remember, Miratamoon was the witch that was trapped in the mirror in the last book that Lucy freed. She's a 3,000-year-old witch from ancient Egypt. Now, the vampires at their knitting club, they approach Lucy and they say to her, like, we'd really like to have a stall on the market in Oxford, like the Christmas market, and we'd actually need you to go and to sign up. And Lucy was kind of like, doesn't this have to be like applied for like months and months in advance? Like, this is the kind of thing that takes time and planning. And it turns out the vampires have been planning it for months, and they just put Lucy down as the front without even speaking to her. So in the end, Lucy was just kind of like, there's no point in being angry about this. Yes, fine, we'll do it. So what's Lucy doing? Lucy's working on a witchcraft. She's been going to, the witch circle with the other witches, the coven. She's been going hanging out with them. She's been working on her business as well. Gran and Sylvia have actually approached her and discussed the option of maybe expanding and franchising the store. So that was quite interesting, seeing this kind of little bit of groundwork being laid for maybe a possibility of having other stores within the UK as Cardinal Wolsey. So the Oxford market, it's super busy. Everyone is just flocking to their stall. And the biggest seller for the vampires is the extra long knitted stockings, which is like kind of making me want to do like crochet Christmas stockings. Like, I kind of really want to do that. I think it would be so cute. I have a Christmas stocking that I've had since I was like a kid, and it's like this like quilted, like kind of like the 90s does Victorian. It has like that kind of feeling to it. It's got cats on it. It's like really cute. But now I'm like, oh, how cute would it be though if we all had like our own little crocheted ones? So first day on the market, Lucy's stall is approached by some familiar faces. Aunt Lavinia, Cousin Violet, and also the dreaded Margaret twig. They're reminding her that there is a winter solstice celebration and they want Lucy to come along. And Lucy's very apprehensive because the last time she was there, she ended up sending one of the standing stones back to where it was originally from. She kind of picked it up and kind of threw it, trying to do like a bit of a demonstration at Samhain, and she was absolutely mortified. So she's quite apprehensive about returning. And also, they're kind of also making fun of her as well. And Rafe is also kind of there and he's also kind of making fun of her. So it's kind of like you think about, she's trying to control her powers. She's trying her best, but she's also kind of doing some really crazy things. Now, it's during this conversation that they actually turn to Cardinal Wolsey's and Lucy ends up hiring Cousin Violet in the shop, which basically her being pulled between the market stall and the shop is quite difficult. So that was like the best thing. And to be honest with you, I quite like the fact that Nancy Warren chose to write Violet into the story a little bit more. Having her working in the shop is going to embed her into that story. She's going to be more present and therefore more in future storylines. Now at the market, there is another stall that's selling handmade soaps and sort of like all those kind of things, like handmade basically body products. The lady who runs the stall, her name is Gemma, and Lucy ends up befriending her. Gemma has got a boyfriend an ex-boyfriend who's not very nice. He's kind of a little bit stalkerish. So she's kind of got like this kind of like story where she's like, I'm just in university, I'm trying to pay university off and I've taken this time and I'm going to try and make, some money back doing a craft market. First person that's ever trying to pay off uni loans with a craft stall. That's just... I don't know whether any of you have ever done a craft market, but I have done craft markets in the past and I have never ever made like my money back, or I've always kind of like ended up not fully making it. I think if I ever did a market stall again, I would probably either like sell patterns or like sell like kits or something like that. Maybe I'd sell crochet tools, but I've never had success in things. One day I did have success. I did one store where I made loads of the tarot wraps and I made loads of like little crystal bags and stuff like that, and they flew off and I pretty much sold out of everything. I think I had one tarot wrap left, which I was like, whoa. But then I went back again and none of my tarot wraps sold. So I feel like it's just kind of like luck of the draw, but I've never ever been successful in doing a craft market. Let me know in the comments what's your experience been like with craft markets. Now, Rafe is looking at Gemma and he's like thinking like, wow, I really recognize her. Like, she really looks like somebody, like, I don't think I've met her, but whether I didn't, there's something about her face which I find really memorable. Now, Lucy ends up kind of getting a little bit close to Gemma and she starts talking to her about like her father and her ties with Oxford. It turns out that there was a really big scandal with her father with a very popular book that is about to be re-released, The Chronicles of Pendratung. And that book, it kind of reminds me of like maybe like a Harry Potter with a touch of like Lord of the Rings. Like, that's the kind of feel. It's like an Oxford Don who's wrote this book and they're just re-releasing it and re-releasing it and re-releasing it. So the big plot line, the big drama in the book is trying to find out who wrote the Chronicles of Pendratung. Now, this book series is wrote by a man named Dominic Sanderson. Now, Gemma's father was at school with Dominic. Now, there was a huge scandal. Gemma's father, Martin, ended up being done for plagiarism and got discredited. He'd also come out and claim that he wrote the Chronicles of Pendratung. And Rafe remembers all this and it's like, oh, that's why she looks familiar. She looks like this guy Martin. That's why I recognize her. Gemma says that Dominic has ruined her father's life and she is here in Oxford to confront him. But someone else keeps showing up as well, the ex-boyfriend. And a few days later, Lucy is going down to hand in some money from the stall to the bank and she sees the light in Gemma's cabin is on and she goes over to the cabin and Gemma is lying on the floor and she's been strangled. And to make matters worse, guess what she's been strangled with? One of the lovely stockings from the vampires. So in comes Detective Ian Chisholm, who's basically kind of like, oh, Lucy again, great. Of course, when there's something wrong, Lucy Swift's obviously here. He's telling Lucy to not jump to conclusions because Lucy is instantly just like, it's her ex-boyfriend. He also kind of makes Rafe run between the two chalets because she actually sees the perpetrator running away. And she's trying to figure out how tall this man actually was. So Ian goes, and then Rafe goes, and she's trying to like figure out the height and trying to see if she can get a bit of a read. They end up having the vampires sitting with Gemma in the hospital because Gemma, unfortunately, is not conscious. She's breathing, but it's like she's had a really bad knock to the head and she's basically needs like looking after. And Lucy's very, very worried that the person who tried to murder her will come back. So she's under 24/7 surveillance by the vampires. Lucy and Rafe go to her hotel, and it's when they're looking through her hotel room for clues that they actually find an old manuscript for the Chronicles. This sends them on this wild goose chase trying to find out who is the actual author of the Chronicles of Pengatung. They decide to go speak to Gemma's father. But when they go speak to Gemma's father, as they turn up, they find the house is completely ablaze and the police are bringing a body out of the house. Lucy is absolutely devastated because poor Gemma has gone through this really traumatic event. And not only that, when she wakes up, she's going to find out that her father's passed away. That same evening, Lucy and Rafe, they go to the new book launch of the new series of the Chronicles of Pengatung. It's just a re-release. And then Lucy and Rafe, they start to see a motive with Sanderson. Possibly Sanderson might have been the one that might have killed Martin. He has this awful book agent, Dominic Sanderson, and it's kind of like the two of them are like this double act. And obviously the agent also has a lot to lose. Like he, might end up, losing everything as well. Now, eventually Gemma wakes up and her father actually shows up at the hospital. It turns out that it wasn't him within the home at all. It was actually Darren. Darren had gone to see Martin to try to convince Martin to, get Gemma back together. But obviously as Darren has shown up, he wasn't in, he'd gone for a walk. And when he came home, the house was ablaze. When he shows up to the hospital, he's actually holding a really, really old manuscript. And the manuscript was actually in a storage unit. He'd given it to his father years and years ago and then lost it. And he'd found it quite recently and put it in a storage unit so it didn't go up in flames. He now has evidence to show that he's the true author of the Chronicles. Now, unfortunately, Dominic Sanderson is found dead, basically saying that he might have unalived himself. He had so much to lose, all this money, and now he's been basically shown as a fraud. Martin ends up signing with the new agent, and the agent is basically claiming that it's going to be a lot easier for you if you just kind of come with me. I know the books, I know how to sell them, and also there's going to be loads of sort of legalities that we can just bypass if you kind of come with me. The book concludes at the market, and they're all hanging out in the market and everything's kind of together, and Martin's there and the soap store with Gemma wrapping the soaps, and she says in the book that he looks so much younger and so much lighter. He's had a haircut and he's got new clothes, and the agent shows up. So Lucy is looking at this gentleman's back and he's stood right near the chalet, and then she realizes that that is the man that she's seeing. Lucy accuses him of what he's done and he takes off in the middle of the market. Luckily, he's chased down and he's captured, and basically that is how the book ends. It's so interesting. That was just a really quick synopsis of what actually happens, but there's so many things that I've left out because there's so many twists and turns, and I don't really want to go too heavily into it because I want you to read the book if you haven't read it. This is an audio book. You can actually get books 4 to 6 all combined in one Audible credit, and I love listening on Audible because I can crochet at the same time. But yeah, definitely read it because there's so much that happens that it's just, there's way too much to go into in a podcast. What I love about Nancy's work is it doesn't drag on. She is very much boom, boom, boom. It's very linear. You're not starting off somewhere else. You are continuing with the story. It's absolutely fab. I hate when you're trying to figure out when a chapter's changed and then you're trying to figure out what's happening. You don't really get that with Nancy's stories. I love the fact that Darren as well was this huge red herring. Most of the book I was just it's Darren. He's awful. He's awful. He's definitely attacked her. And then I started thinking it was Dominic Sanderson as well. The actual big twist was that way it was the agent. that for me, that was just like, what? Like, I did not think it was going to be him at all. I thought the ending was extremely satisfying. I really, really loved the big, massive twist that it was the agent. And I love this kind of story of like this old feud between friends and how everything comes to a head. Like, think about what Martin's headspace must have been like all those years. How much stress, the feeling of just being violated because it's your creativity, it's your story, it's stuff that, like, massive amounts of research and all that to just be taken in one foul swoop, and then on top of that, be called a fraud. I love the fact as well that it's set in Oxford. When I went to Oxford, all I kept thinking about was Tolkien. That's all I kept thinking about. And having it set in such a literary place is so fab. I just think it's so amazing. It kind of felt like you were almost kind of like back of house, seeing kind of what happens and how people come up with these like amazing stories. You're kind of getting a little bit of an insight into that world. And again, just like the Tolkien links, like Oxford student writes fantasy novel that's extremely successful. It like echoes like Tolkien so much. I love the characters. I just love how believable they are. Like, I'm so invested. Every single book, the characters like deepen and develop. This book, there wasn't much like vampire action, I will say that. It was more about like the people. Rafe and Lucy, I mean, like, I'm sorry, guys, will you just get together already? Like, it's stressing me out. Like, they're meant to be together, like they are supposed to be together. There's just, it's so much like, oh, so much tension. It's driving me crazy. So in terms of themes in the book, you've got quite a lot of things going on. You have betrayal. I think betrayal obviously is a big one. The betrayal of friendship, that kind of even betrayal when it comes to like Gemma and her father, because she was brought up by her mother. Her mother's passed away. Her father was basically like turned to like alcohol and had like obviously a lot of personal stuff happening because of this massive betrayal, and he ends up betraying like his family because of that betrayal that's happened to him. Fear as well, the fear of being found, the fear of being caught, the fear that Gemma has of Darren as well. So again, the fear of being like found and forced into doing something, just like, oh god, so scary. What I really loved about this book is it kind of feels like Nancy has kind of pulled from her own kind of personal world, like being an author. Like, the thought of somebody like stealing your work, maybe that might be a fear that Nancy has, I don't know. Nancy, if you ever watch this, please let us know where you got the inspiration for this book from, because it's so amazing. But kind of pulling from like those like literary world like experiences, I thought that was really, really fun and a really interesting choice. Now, with the book being set at Christmas, this book made me feel so cozy and so nostalgic, and it made me feel really, really excited. Like I said at the start of the episode, it made me feel like really excited for Christmas and what's going to happen this year. It kind of made me feel like I was longing for like the Christmas markets, and again, that's not like me. I'm more like, I don't even want to think about Christmas. But sometimes when I'm working at the Walker Art Gallery and I'll leave work and I'm walking to the train station and I'll walk through the markets just to kind of get a bit of like Christmassy kind of feelings. I absolutely love it. So yeah, this book really made me feel cozy. So how does this compare to the other books in the series? I really, really enjoyed that with this book, and I like the fact that she played with the theme of like Christmas, and I love that she played with that literary theme and really kind of hyped up Oxford as like a place where like these books kind of get wrote. I thought that was a really, really fun choice for her. I'm really, really happy that Mary is a character as well. Like, she didn't just get like forgotten after the last book. I'm really, really happy that Maritara Moon is working in the shop and she's still around. And I thought like having this kind of Mary character where obviously she feels very comfortable in witchcraft but does not feel comfortable in like the modern world. And it's kind of like a polar opposite for Lucy, where Lucy is very, very confident in like the modern world and the modern going on of things, and even like the running of cardinal woolsies. She feels very confident in that, but witchcraft is not. So it's kind of having these two polar opposites, and they can help each other in different ways. I think as well as the series progresses, you can see how comfortable Lucy is in Oxford, and it kind of feels as she's like found her home. And you can see she's obviously settling with the vampires, although it wasn't very vampire heavy in this episode, but she is like feeling more comfortable around the vampires, and we are getting a bit more kind of witchcraft element as well. I think, again, what I also find exciting is Lucy is kind of like stepping into this entrepreneurial kind of role, and the discussion of expanding cardinal woolsies I think is really, really, really exciting. But yeah, the slow burn between Lucy and Rafe. Oh my gosh. And Ian Chisholm is still kind of around, isn't he? So we'll have to see what happens between those two. We've got a bit of a love triangle going on. Now, I haven't got anybody else's thoughts on the book, mainly because I had to film this a little early, which I do apologise. So the next book that we're going to be reading is Pearls and Potions, which is book 5. Can you believe we're on the 5th book? How crazy is that? We're committed up to book 9, I think. Is it book 9 that we said we're going to read up to? I can't remember. And we're also doing the 2 novellas as well, which I'm very excited for you guys to read. Very, very excited. So next month, we're going to be doing the Pearls and Potions, which I'm very hyped about because this is really fun because it's kind of all set in the theatre. We're going to see actors, and there's going to be some hijinks, and it's got an element of Midsummer Night's Dream, which is my favourite Shakespeare play. I love Midsummer Night's Dream. So if you would like to send me your feedback, if you've read the book already, send me it now. You don't have to wait. Just send me it, email it over to mitchardshandmade@gmail.com, or send me a direct message on the Facebook group. What I'll do when I post this, you can always post your responses for the next one in the comments if that's easier for you. And what I also do is I put some prompts down below as well. So if you've got if you can't think of what to say and want some prompt questions, they're just down. Even if you just want to write a sentence and I can always read that out, I would absolutely love to do that. It'd be really, really fun. I want this to feel like a proper book club. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of me waffling on about the Vampire Knitting Club. Thank you so much if you've read it as well, because I am just so happy that now I have people to talk about the Vampire Knitting Club series with. So far, it used to just be me and Liz. Me and Liz have just been obsessed with these books since about 2022. I think we got into them. So really, really excited that we've now got this whole community into the Vampire Knitting Club. Hopefully, if Nancy does another book signing, maybe we can all go. How much fun would that be? And we can all meet Nancy and buy our books and get them signed. Hopefully Nancy will do a signing soon. Fingers crossed, putting it out into the universe. Well, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. And remember, if you like the video, please give us a subscribe. Please give us a like. Head over to the Facebook group, the Mitchard Mateys Craft Club. And if I don't see you on Sunday, I will see you next week in the Chit Chat and Crochet podcast. Bye, guys.